Welcome, collectors. Thank you so much for joining me for this edition of Diecast Emporium. In today's video, we're going to be reviewing the Diecast Masters Transport Series International HX620 dump truck in black with a silver gray dump bed. Now, this model is somewhat unusual in the fact that, at least initially, it was produced for B2B replicas, but ultimately these found its way onto other dealers and storefront shelves. This is not uncommon for Diecast Masters, as many of you may remember. Very recently, Diecast Masters did something similar for Buffalo Road Imports with releasing the HX620 dump truck in red and the International HX520 lowboy set in red, again for Buffalo Road Imports. Back to this model, the item number again, 71020. As with all Transport Series models, it comes in this brown outer shipping box, which very recently, Diecast Masters has helped out with adding the item number on the side. So if you store your models in these boxes for safekeeping during storage, you can quickly identify what's inside of each of these boxes. You will need to cut one side of the Diecast Masters tape. Once you've done that, we get our first look at the shoebox style of packaging that DM likes to use for the Transport Series models. Here is our box. Again, unusual for DM, but very plain, a lot of white. Normally there will be a picture of the model here, maybe some information about the model on the back, but in this case, one can assume that that's something that maybe B2B or 3000 Toys requested. At any rate, bottom left, 1 to 50 scale, ages 14 and up, minimum International HX620 dump truck collectible diecast scale model replica. Once again, your item number is at the top right corner, 71020. Back of the box, just the Diecast Masters Real Replicas logo and your international trademark. Bottom of the box, this is what I'd like to draw your attention to for just a moment. Produced for and distributed by B2B Replicas, b2breplicas.com. Joplin, Missouri, USA. Again, that is 3000toys.com. Okay. Your finger hole will be located on the right side of the box. Stick your finger in that very inviting hole. Pull out the packaging. Here's where you get the glimpse of the Transport Series logo. The first piece of packaging on the top layer just has 2 optional chrome exhaust stack tips, should you want to fit those to your model. And in the bottom layer of the black foam rubber, there you can get your first glimpse at the model. So be careful what you grab onto, lift straight out, and you are ready to display your international dump truck. Only minimal assembly is required, and again, it's completely optional, but I would highly recommend that you do it. And that is, you take one of the 2 exhaust stack tips. You have this one, which is straight up and down, or a curved top exhaust, and place it right at the top of the exhaust. So let's use the curved one. I like to lift up the dump box a little bit because it gives us a little bit more room to work. And we'll pop in the exhaust stack tip. And just like that, now your model is 100% assembled and ready to be put in your diorama or in your glass display case. Now, let's start off with the decals and details. One of the best aspects or highest selling point for this truck, in my opinion anyway, is the color combination. So the black front for the cab, that's actually an authentic licensed international black color. Your dump box, which they have listed as silver gray, I'm just going to call it gray or silver. Again, good combination with the black cab, but really where this truck really pops for me is the chrome wheels. Good choice there. I'm glad they went with a chrome color instead of maybe just that silver color that we've seen before on some of these trucks. Your exhaust stack is all chrome, as are your mirrors, your sun visor at the front, your bumper, your international grille, and your international logo here, the little triangle, again, very noticeable there on the front bumper. Coming along to this side, again, you can see your tanks. You have a functional tarp. Now, I say functional because if you really wanted to, you could take this thing all the way out, but it is a bear to get it wound back up, so just be aware of that. And these pins are easily snapped, so use at your own discretion. You have your steps here, DOT striping along the dump box, and obviously you have some lights right underneath the operator's or the driver's door. Back of the truck, we have some rubber mud flaps, again, feature the international logo. Some lights, there's even some small red and orange lights on the back of the dump box. There you can see they're pretty prevalent right here. And there's even a small chute here, which again is just molded into the casting. It's not functional, but there's even a very tiny warning label, which again adds to the immersion and the realism factor. This is what the inside of the dump box looks like. Pretty hollow, but again executed quite well and looks realistic. Now, let's turn our attention to functionality. This model has all the functionality that you'd want to see in a 1/50th scale dump truck, and then some. You have a working steering axle or front axle, although to be fair, the range is somewhat limited on the HX620s, and to me anyway, that's because of the fender flare and the wheels clashing with the fenders, but again, something is always better than nothing. You can open up the hood if you want a good look at the mechanical under the hood components, and DM has done a fairly decent job there. You can see your red motor, some hoses, and some other mechanical components such as the radiator replicated accurately as well. These trucks do not have opening doors, and they were produced prior to Diecast Masters' acquisition of the Ox Bodies dump box license, so these are just the standard unlicensed dump box that we've seen prior to the last couple years, which actually some people prefer over the Ox Stampede dump box. I'm going to leave that up to each individual's collector to make their own opinion. But speaking of the dump box, I already elaborated and touched on the tarp that, again, use at your own discretion because of these pins. You have a working and functional lift or drop axle. If you want to drop it, turn the truck upside down, gently pull down, and now the wheel will be grounded with the rest of the axles. As I push it along, you can see that it is moving with the rest. It also has some steering, which really isn't necessary. You can also clip it out of service, so now you can see that it is not moving while the other wheels are spinning. Okay, let's go back to the dump box here. You can get a pretty realistic dump angle. Above average, I would say. Helped along by what I would consider 1, 2, 3, and a bit stage cylinders, which are a mix of plastic and metal depending on which stage of cylinder we are talking about. But the mechanism is strong enough that it should be able to support the weight of the dump box for an extended period of time without risk of it deflecting down. Your tailgate, again a metal piece, also will open, and they have modeled it so that it will stay open at a certain angle, which works particularly well if you want to model your dump truck backing into an asphalt paver's hopper. So that will conclude my review of the Diecast Masters Transport Series International HX620 dump truck in black with a gray dump body. No-brainer to add to your collection if you collect black trucks or if you collect all of the Diecast Masters Transport Series. This one, again, just a special color combination that was initially produced for distribution by B2B Replicas. I think it holds up well even today. And if you have any 1/50 scale construction equipment, such as a loader or excavator, I have a 330 here. The two make an instant pair that only will add to your collection or your diorama. Thank you all so much for watching. If you are interested in purchasing this model, please click on the link that's in this video's description, and it will take you to constructiondiecast.com where I picked up my truck. Again, at the time that I am filming this review, this truck retails for about $65 US, which is very fair value. Until next time, take care and be safe. I'll see you in the next review.